Revenge films.
We banter and crack jokes because we love each other. It's a sure sign we trust each other. Such was the opinion of my ex-boyfriend. I would accept a small amount of offensive jokes, of course, but for my ex-boyfriend, it was far over the line. During the winter of my third year in university, I was up to my ears in job hunting. He was also right in the heat of his job hunting too, and we met because we went to the same seminar. After all 8 classes were done, I was just about to head home when he called after me and suddenly confessed his feelings about me. This happened quite suddenly, so I was a little hesitant at first, but he was quite decent in looks and seemed a kind person. To be safe, we started by exchanging our emails, and I tried going on a few dates with him. Then I decided to be together with him. It was when I was cooking at his place, right after we became a couple. He crept and peered over from behind, and I heard him mutter under his breath.
That looks disgusting.
What was that? I asked as I turned around. I didn't believe what I heard, but he was watching TV without any change of emotion in his face. It's almost done.
Oh, I'm excited.
That convinced me I was just hearing things, so I forgot about it and brought the cooking over to the table. And after setting the curry and rice and potato salad down...
Okay, looks like you managed to make it look like people food.
This time I definitely heard him right. I was a little surprised. Scratch that, I was very surprised, but maybe how it looks could use some work, but I think the taste is good enough. I sort of sacrificed my dignity as a cook, but it was what I should have done to reassure him.
Is that so? That's good then.
Then, as a spoonful of curry no more than touched his tongue...
This is awful. I'm gonna throw up.
This was making me angry, needless to say. Well then, you don't have to eat it anymore. I started to take the food away, but he stopped me vigorously.
I'm eating this surely as I say it tastes terrible, aren't I? We're a couple, right? So you don't say it's delicious even if you think so. We banter each other like that.
In what universe was it logical for him to get upset and say such nonsense? In the end, he uttered how terrible it tasted until he ate up everything on his plate.
Woo! That was good. Thanks, honey.
Although he was honest that time, I already started to lose my trust in him. Sometime later, I wore some new clothes on our date.
Are those new clothes? You look like a clown. I'm embarrassed to walk in public with the likes of you.
What the hell? Well then, I'll go back home and change into better clothes.
How about you notice I'm actually over the moon and think you look really cute?
To tell you the truth, I had no idea where to even begin to understand this train of thought. Even after that, throughout the date, his anger never died down completely and was cranky. It was stupid to try to fix things, so I never said anything about it. After a long silence...
You're such a big blah, you know that?
This was getting too ridiculous. Shall we break up then?
There's no way I'd be with you if you were a big blah. Of course, I like you so much. Imagine not catching what I mean.
He then tried to kiss me as he tried to look handsome. Chills ran down my spine, but perhaps he misinterpreted my situation.
You're blushing. You're so cute.
Sirens started wailing within me, screaming that something was very wrong with this guy. So in a panic, I said, I'm not feeling too well, so I'm heading home now, okay? I went home in the middle of our date. Later on, he would interact with me in this manner, and when I asked him to stop, he would get upset and criticize me for not reading between his lines. Meanwhile, whenever I got upset, he would interpret that as something worthy of his affection. My feelings for him became even colder, and I began to want to break up with him. Eventually, an event that accelerated that to light speed would take place. It was when he was practicing the guitar. I teased in his manner, "Oh, you're so bad at the guitar. I think my ears are bleeding." He suddenly punched me in the face and the gut with all his might. At first, I hadn't a clue what had happened. All I did was give him a taste of his own medicine and reciprocated his chastising my cooking and my clothing style in the same manner. I never expected my face would be the punching bag. When I looked up at him,
How dare you!
I was shocked at the fury in his body and in his voice. I started to cry from the pain and from shock, and I told him, practically screaming, I said my ears were bleeding while I was never covering them, so obviously I mean that you're really good. Imagine not catching what I mean.
In that case, shouldn't you say so honestly? Don't you dare look down on someone working hard on something. God, that pisses me off so much.
Well, what about you then? What was it you said about my cooking when I worked hard to make it for us? All I did was exactly the same as you always do to me. I hightailed it out of there and went straight to the police, telling him that he hit me. Chasing after me, he said with police officers in front of him,
This is my woman! There's something between us that none of you will understand!
I was completely through with him at this point, and the pain in my face after that furious punch was unbearable. So I told him, crying, with a tissue against my bleeding nose, there is no chemistry. That's just him being stupid. Please arrest him under charge of offense. He was arrested on the spot, and I was taken to a hospital because the bleeding didn't stop. After the examination, I found out my nose was broken. The hospital contacted my parents, and my mother swooned at the horrific sight of my swollen, disfigured face. My father's face turned red with anger and swore to find out who did this, and ferociously stormed out to find the main doctor who took care of me. I was then hospitalized for a few days, and my parents hired a passionate lawyer for me. And working with him, I went to demand compensation from him. With my lawyer before him, he apparently said,
That's just my version of humor! It's her fault! She never understood what I truly meant!
He put up a fight to lessen the demands for compensation. But what with him doing damage big time to a girl's face, that kind of excuse would never work. And in the end, I got a total of 800,000 yen. Of course, he and I broke up. During a last phone call, I told the bastard everything that had been welling up in my heart for a long while.
Shut your goddamn mouth, you b****! We banter and crack jokes because we love each other! It's a sure sign we trust each other!
Huh? Banter and crack jokes because we love each other? A sure sign we trust each other? Have you ever heard of the saying, good fences make good neighbors? Your dumbass tells people to read between the lines. Read between the lines? How about you freaking realize you're the one who never reads people's emotions? All the consequences for bantering and cracking jokes are bound to bounce back, and you better run for your life. Goodbye now. Later, I started to get ridiculous messages from him on Snapchat.
Ah, today was another great day! So, when are the consequences coming to bite my ass?
It was so annoying. So I completely ignored them and focused wholeheartedly on job hunting. This landed me a job pretty early. It was right around then that the messages stopped. I was just about to get a new phone anyway, and it no longer mattered if he messaged me or not. But apparently, he became a victim of job hunting neurosis and became a recluse. As those around him were offered jobs, he was never offered anything even after applying to dozens of companies. And that's what he deserves, since he apparently kept the same stupid, stubborn attitude during his interviews. Of course, his friends and peers also told him,
Dude, maybe you should be careful what you do and say. Do you really not see how rude the things you say actually are? I don't want to be the likes of anyone annoying like you.
People kept their distance from him. Even so, he would still say,
Oh, come on! Read between the lines at least a little, guys!
That made me realize how much of a jellyfish he really is, not learning anything from his mistakes or from what people tell him. I felt sad. He'll probably just go deeper into the life of a recluse without ever knowing why. And he'll become even more lonely, claiming that he's not the one to blame. But I think it's great. There'll be less people to be victims of his bird brain attitude if he remains a recluse. The mouth is the source of disaster, the saying that brought the darkness and perfectly fits his pathetic life. All I can say is good riddance.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.